If you are married and nearing retirement, what I'm about to show you and your spouse could completely change how you both think about Social Security forever. Let's take two couples for an example. They could be the same ages, similar earnings histories, similar retirement savings, similar stage of life. One couple will collect roughly $250,000 more over their lifetime compared to the other. This is truly a staggering number, but it's not because that the one couple invested better, and it's not because that they earned more either. It's because of one decision and only one decision. And once that decision is made, it can't be undone. This isn't about maximizing a monthly check in and of itself. It's about protecting the spouse who lives the longest. And statistically speaking, unfortunately, one of you will live longer than the other one. Here's the uncomfortable truth that maybe people don't want to address. The Social Security decision most couples rush through is the one that determines survivor income 15 or 20 years from now. And most people don't even take the time to model that before they start drawing Social Security. They look at just a break-even chart, which is useful, but what they do is they compare 62 versus 67 versus 70, and then they file, and that's all they consider. But Social Security for couples is not just a math problem. It's a coordination problem. What this really is a longevity decision. It's a tax decision. And if you get it wrong, the cost doesn't show up next year. It doesn't show up this year. It shows up when, unfortunately, one spouse is now alone. Before we go any further, my name is Will Snagas. I'm a CFP and I'm the owner of Mat25 Capital. We're a Christian wealth advisory practice. And what I'm trying to cover today is really something that I think most retirees miss, but I really want them to understand how absolutely important this is to their longevity decision when it comes to Social Security. So let's walk through why this decision is much bigger than most couples even realize. Most couples will ask the question, when should I claim? And that sounds reasonable in and of itself, but it's really the wrong question. That's not what they should be asking. The right question should be, how do we maximize lifetime household income, including survivor income? Because when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse keeps the larger of the two benefits. The smaller benefit is the one that disappears. That's the rule, and we can't change the rules. We have to play by them. So if both spouses claim early, both benefits shrink, and that's permanently. And if the higher earner claims early, the surviving spouse may be locked into a significantly lower income floor for the rest of their life. Now, let's make this tangible. Let's say the higher earning spouse has a full retirement age benefit of about $3,200 a month. If they claim at 62, that benefit could drop to roughly $2,250 a month. If delayed to 70, it could increase to around $4,000 a month. That is not a small difference. Now, imagine 15 years into retirement, unfortunately, one spouse passes away. The survivor keeps either the $2,250 a month or $4,000 a month. That difference over 10, 15, or 20 years can easily exceed $200,000 to $250,000. Same work history, same lifetime earnings, different decision at this one juncture, but what a massive impact that makes. Here's what makes this even more significant than just even on the surface. The spouse who pushes a claim early is often not the one who bears the long-term consequence. The surviving spouse does. That's why this is not just a financial optimization issue, it is a stewardship issue. So let's take a minute and talk about why couples might claim early, and there's usually 5 different reasons. First, fear that Social Security won't be there anymore. Second, the mindset of, I want to get my money back. Third, reliance on simple break-even calculators that don't fully comprehend everything in the person's lives. Fourth, pressure from friends who already filed. And fifth, the assumption that their investment portfolio can quote-unquote make up the difference. So let's walk through these calmly and really try and dissect them. The get it before it's gone mindset is understandable, but historically, changes to Social Security have not eliminated benefits for those near retirement. The get my money back argument misses the insurance nature of Social Security. It's not just a return on contributions, it's longevity protection. Break-even charts ignore survivor implications entirely. And assuming your portfolio can outperform a guaranteed inflation-adjusted income increase requires accepting market risk in place of certainty. Now, here's where this becomes a little bit more nuanced. So not everyone should delay to 70. If health is compromised, for example, if income is urgently needed, or if assets are limited, claiming earlier may absolutely make sense. And we actually did a video on that, which I'll link below. But it should always be coordinated. This should never be a rushed decision, and it should never be defaulted. Not decided over coffee with friends or drinks especially. So let's kind of zoom out for a moment. Couples with, let's say, $500,000 to $1 million saved often need to think about stability. Couples with, let's say, $1 to $3 million saved need to think about tax layering and smoothing income across multiple decades. Couples, though, with $3 million plus need to think about guaranteed income floors and survivor security in conjunction with a proactive tax mitigation strategy. The same Social Security system is what we're dealing with, but there are very different implications depending on your assets and your financial picture. This is why I don't look at Social Security as a standalone decision, and no one else should either. I look at it as a part of a retirement income architecture. There are at least 4 lenses I use when evaluating this. First is longevity planning. We don't guess. We plan for realistic life expectancy and sometimes longer. And for many married couples in their early 60s, at least one spouse living in their late 80s or early 90s or longer is statistically normal. Second is tax coordination. Delaying Social Security opens up lower income years between retirement and age 70. Those years can sometimes be used strategically, not aggressively, it's not that appropriate at that time of life, but thoughtfully to smooth out future taxation. Third is portfolio resilience. A higher guaranteed income floor later in life reduces pressure on withdrawals during market volatility. Fourth is survivor modeling. We project what the surviving spouse's income looks like at 82, at 88, at 92, etc. Most people never look that far, though, at least from what I've experienced in my 16 years doing this. They focus on year one, but retirement is not year one. It can be decades, and in many cases it is. So let me address something directly here for those watching. Some viewers might be thinking to themselves, well, if we delay Social Security, we'll need to draw more from our 401k earlier in retirement. And the answer to that is possibly. You might have to. But you have to keep this in mind. In certain scenarios, drawing moderately from tax-deferred accounts earlier can reduce future required minimum distributions later. And again, that is what I refer to as coordination, not guessing, but coordinating how all these assets work together. And this is why Social Security decisions should never be made in isolation. They interact with, among other things, tax brackets, IRA withdrawals, Roth positioning, Medicare premium thresholds, survivor income, estate consideration, and the list goes on and on. When you pull one lever, other levers move. If you'd like to evaluate how this fits into your broader retirement income plan, you can find our retirement paycheck readiness scorecard at matt25capital.com or in the link below. All of our contact information is listed in the description down below. But let me just kind of close with this because I really want people to walk away with a few key ideas. Social Security may represent several $100,000s of lifetime income for a married couple, and the claiming decision is largely irreversible. Let me say that again. It's largely irreversible. You can't undo this easily. You can't optimize it later. This is one of the few retirement decisions where patience and coordination can materially improve long-term stability, especially for the spouse who lives the longest. And we don't always know who that's going to be. If you're within 5 years of retirement, slow this down. Model it. Take the time to think ahead. Think beyond the first check. Think even about age 85, 90, 95. That's where the real difference shows up. And if you'd like help evaluating how this decision fits into your overall retirement income plan, you can reach us at our website, matt25capital.com or info@matt25capital.com. Retirement income is really not about guessing. No one should approach it that way. It's about thoughtful coordination, and this decision deserves that level of care, due diligence, and prudence. So I hope that everyone got some useful information out of this. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And it would be really helpful, if you don't mind, if you've watched this long, to maybe like the video or subscribe. We try and put out as much content as we can to help people. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and have a blessed day.